From a tenant who trashed a rental home and ignored eviction notices.
Rent is not paying rent, utilities, and is damaging the property. And it may not be there. Smoking in-house, pet in-house, trashing the place.
To another who racked up months of unpaid rent with no real effort to pay.
$181 in costs plus late fees, $2,126. Ms. Byers said she planned to pay it and wished to stay there. What's the current status?
I would defer to Ms. Finnerman if she could say if any payments were made.
She hasn't paid towards anything.
These cases show how Judge Middleton handles landlord-tenant issues, starting with Mr. Yoder, who ignored eviction notices, left the property in disrepair, and refused to take responsibility, from failing to pay rent to trashing the home. Some people's attitudes are enough to drive anyone crazy. Let's see how this works for him.
And the reasons to terminate the tenancy are rent is not paying rent, utilities, and is damaging the property. And it may not be there. Smoking in-house, pet in-house, trashing the place. The most recent lease was signed November 1 of 2024 to October 31 of 2025. So there is a lease in place. Under Michigan law, in a landlord-tenant case, if you're personally served, you're subject to default. And the court can enter a default judgment. And I would tell you today, he has 10 days to vacate, or you can ask for a writ of eviction. However, he was not personally served. The house was served by attachment. They posted it on the door. So I can't.
We also mailed a copy to him.
Oh, you requested a mail copy too?
Yeah, we sent a mail copy.
Let's take a look. There's a specific way to do it if the court mails it.
Papers were going that were on the door said, I don't know if his dad might have took, I'm not sure, we don't know.
I don't see a second mailing by the court. Let's take a look.
Okay, the court sent me the papers and then I had to send them to him. And then I had to send you the certificate of mailing.
Here it is. You did do a second mailing. All right, he's not here. But you did a second and subsequent mailing. I'm going to find there was a second mailing to writ, do a judgment for 10 days from today for March 27th. Elaine, I'm going to need you to do a judgment here. We're going to do a default judgment saying the defendant was served by attachment and a second mailing. And the date for the writ will be 10 days from today, March 27th. And the appeal. Need judgment. Now, what that means is he has 10 days to vacate. If he does not vacate, you can come back to the court with $15 and ask for a writ of eviction. And that would give the sheriff the authority to come physically remove him from the property. Mm-hmm. You did pay the fee for supplemental money damages. And so once he vacates, you would take possession of the property and determine how much damage is there. How much is the rent? How much are unpaid utilities? Are pipes frozen? Windows broken? Is there a security deposit? And then you would submit a claim to the court as to how much you want to sue him for. Then we would set a hearing regarding money damages and give him notice and have a hearing regarding the actual money. This first part is just possession. So if you wait a minute, the clerk will bring me a judgment. I will sign it. Mm-hmm. We'll send it to him and he has 10 days to move out. All right. Do you have any questions?
What was this really after is
just have him out of the way. So
out of the way, and then, you know,
well,
if he could pay for his damages, that'd be I
We're
mean,
probably not gonna pursue that.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's up to you. Once you get him out and get possession, you can just go from there.
Right.
If you wish to pursue money damages, you paid the fee and you can ask for hearing. Now, you can apply his security deposit to any money damage or unpaid rent. But just have a seat for a minute and she'll
Sure.
bring me a judgment and in fact, why don't you just take him out to the counter and she'll bring me a judgment. So if he doesn't vacate 10 days from now, on the 28th of March, the next day you can come to the court and ask for a writ of eviction. Costs $15.
Mhm.
And the sheriff will put him out.
But if he does vacate in between, and then 10 days, and we're
Yes.
free to go in there and.
Yes.
and we
Now
have to-
theoretically, he's supposed to turn in the keys and give his forwarding address in writing within 4 days of his moving. But unless he voluntarily moves or I sign a writ of eviction, you can't take possession of the premises yet.
Till that given date.
Yes. Now, if he says, hey, I'm leaving, here's the keys,
Then
you can
we're-
take possession immediately.
Mhm.
That's not what he's doing. He's
He's just ignoring.
been into hiding, you could say.
Are there outdoor animals? Are there horses or cows or anything?
No, he just had 2 big dogs in the house
Oh,
and it was making a huge mess.
I can imagine. All right, I wish you luck.
This time we have Marissa Byers, already struggling with unpaid rent, now falling even further behind. Instead of making partial payments, she chose to wait, letting the debt pile up and putting herself at risk of eviction.
I'm here. Good afternoon, Mr. Bush,
Hello, Judge.
Ms. Finnerman. Marissa Byers is here with us also. Ms. Byers, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the second hearing in file number 25236LT. It's entitled Finrick LLC as opposed to Rare Fin versus Marissa Byers and any other occupants at this property in White Pigeon. Mr. John Bush is here on behalf of the plaintiff. We were here last Monday, March 10th. We determined at that hearing that 1855 was due. 1865, I guess. $181 in costs plus late fees, $2,126. Ms. Byers said she planned to pay it and wished to stay there. What's the current status?
I would defer to Miss Finnerman if she could say if any payments were made.
She hasn't paid towards anything.
We would have had another week rents that would have come due, Your Honor.
All right. Rent is $235 per week, so 1865 plus 235. Is $2,100 and $90 in late fees. Ms. Byers, you still plan to pay this?
Oh, yes, Your Honor. I have one more pay period before the 10 days after this hearing, and then I will have it I'll have it paid in full. I could send a partial payment, but I've been hesitant because I wanted to have the full amount.
All right, very good. Let me give you that full amount. It's $2,100 in rent through, is that through this Friday, John?
Yes, Judge.
That would be through March 21. Thank you.
Thank you.
$90 in late plus 181 in court costs. $23.71. Due within 10 days from today, which is March 27th. No money judgment is entered. Partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction. There could be additional damage if you move and they discover additional damage or rent. Now, Ms. Byers, if you do decide to move, you need to turn in the keys and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your moving. The appeal date is also March 27th. But I'll take you at your word that you plan to pay this. Of course, then April 1st, April's rent is due. But I always give the same advice: stay in close contact with your landlord and let them know what your intentions are. I don't remember if I asked you this last week. Do you expect a tax refund or anything?
I do expect one, yeah. I'm waiting for my appointment to do my taxes.
Well, that might help you with April's rent.
Well, I have no problem paying rent. I have no problem coming up with weekly rent. It was just me catching up, so um I have that covered. That's not a problem at
All right,
all.
well, good. If you get this squared away, you'll be back to square one. All right, through March 21st, rent is $2,100. Of course, by the time the 27th comes, there's gonna be well, I guess, I don't know. The next rent would be March
This is a
28th.
week, this is a weekly rent, Your Honor.
Yes.
And she would
So,
owe on the 21st.
Yeah, it wouldn't be April. It would be March 28th, the next month. Next week's rent is due. All right, Ms. Byers, do you have any questions?
You had said that the late fees were $90. Is that what you said, correct?
They
'Cause
were
is it-
80, but we had
Okay.
another week pass. So
Okay.
there's another $10 for the last late week.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I've signed the judgment. You're good to go. Stay in
Kristen, did you have a
contact
question?
with.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Judge, wouldn't she owe another 235 on the 21st?
Yes, she will. So by the time she pays this, there'll be another $235 due. But I can only do it through, it's a long story, through this payment week. So she's paid 235, excuse me, as of this Friday, she'll owe 2,100. The next day, she'll owe another 235. So this rent is only through March 21st. It's easier when it's month to month to understand it. I'm not allowed, I did for many years, include the next week. Many judges were doing that. There was an appeal of that, and Judge Stutzman ruled that I can't do undue rent. So it's only through March 21st. So you're right, I may have got my dates mixed up. So the next day.
So would it actually be the 20th then? Through the 20th, because rent is due on Friday?
Rent is due on Friday, the 21st.
Yes, sir.
All right, then this will pay
Our
it
lease
through March.
agreements, our lease agreement does say the first of the week though, so that's quite confusing. So
Yeah, let's see what it says. I wrote first.
We always took that to mean Monday. Perhaps I was mistaken.
First of the week, Monday. So I guess that's Monday. So this will be through Sunday, March 23rd. Your rent's due on Monday. All right. Stay in contact with your landlord. Hope you get a big tax refund and you're squared away. Thank you. You're good to go.
Thank you,
all
Kristen.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's see how these ones go. From Mr. Minsky, who failed to properly file an appeal to stop his eviction, to Mr. Yoder, who avoided multiple attempts to be served, likely hoping to delay the inevitable. Let's see how the judge handles this.
So while we're waiting, I had received a request for an eviction in the matter of Ben's Investments LLC versus Michael Minsky. Mr. Minsky is subject to being evicted, and Mr. Benz is, or Mr. Weiss, on behalf of the plaintiff, has asked for a writ of eviction. Mr. Minsky filed sort of a halfway notice of appeal. He didn't actually file it in the right court. and he didn't pay the filing fee. So we tried to set up a hearing. We were unable to reach Mr. Minsky. He didn't file a proper appeal, didn't pay the fee, so there is no appeal. So I'm signing the writ of eviction effective today in the matter of Ben's Investments versus Michael Minsky at 435 Prospect Street in Constantine. Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz, would you come up and have a seat right here, please?
Sure. Right here?
Yep. You're the plaintiffs.
Yep.
We have to let the clock tick about 6 minutes
You're
here.
fine.
You guys are from Goshen. Did you come up here today for the hearing?
We did, yeah,
Did you get a ride up here?
yeah.
Good for you. You ever been to the courthouse in Centerville before?
No.
No, not like this, no.
No. As a rule, we don't get many Amish people coming to court. You guys try to take care of your business outside of court business, but it does happen several times a year.
We didn't know how else to handle this one because the way he was doing things.
All right, we'll wait till we hear from him here.
Sure.
Now, if he doesn't come, he is subject to no, he was served by attachment. I hate to tell you this. If he doesn't come, we're gonna have to adjourn this matter for 7 days. If he does come, we can adjourn it. He was not personally served. Is he still there?
On and off, we don't really know. We live a little ways from it and
Doesn't contact.
yeah, he don't contact us and he's not been paying for
Doesn't answer.
a long time. And quite a few stuff got damaged.
I'm Judge Middleton, that's my name there on the plate. The judge before me was Judge McManus. He was from
Okay.
Colon. I don't know if you ever made his acquaintance. He was here from 1969 to 2000.
Oh, my word, long time.
Yeah, I've been here from 2002 till now.
No.
He was here a long time too.
I was in the office down the hall at the prosecutor's office for 22 years before that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they said that we could have done the phone thing, but I'm not familiar with that. So I said.
Many people are not, and this is fine. We can do, this is how we did court for 50 years before
Right.
COVID hit, and then
This is
everything.
the old style,
Yes,
right?
Yes. So there's no harm in that.
Okay, that's good to know.
Would you, well, we got 3 minutes here. I'm gonna ask you to call the hall for Ezra Yoder. What? Okay, he's not late yet. The hearing isn't until 1:35.
Just the way he's been doing things, I'd be really surprised if he'd show up.
Well, if he doesn't show up, we can't do a default. Let me look about how Sergeant Morse did it trying to serve him. All right,
Yeah, really what we want to do is get to the place and start cleaning it up. It's upside down.
yes,
We want to clean it up, put it back on the market again. I know there's a lot of people looking for places, but I
Yes,
didn't want to
there are to
sell
rent
it.
and to buy. There's not enough affordable housing. This rent is $1,100 a month, which is pretty good, substantial rent for our neighborhood.
Mhm.
Let me see what's in the service. 2/7/25, 12:16 PM, not home, left card. Tuesday, 12/11, 2:47, not home. Per father, Ezra Senior in Indiana. Wednesday, 2/12, 6:05, not home. Saturday, 2/15, 11:40, not home. So he actually went there 4 times in an attempt to serve process on him. Couldn't tell whether anyone was lived there. He apparently at some point spoke to his father. All right, it is 1:35.
Unlike the others, this one centers on Mr. Loffman, who assured the court he would catch up on rent but still hasn't paid a dime.
Main cases. Our next one is file 25238 LT. It's entitled Memory Lane Mobile Home Park versus Chanel Gutierrez and Rigoberto Gutierrez. Mr. John Bush is here. The manager at Memory Lanes, Chris Corpening, is here, and Mr. Gutierrez is here. Is Chanel with you also?
Yep, she's just sitting off to the side, like normal.
Okay, very good.
Chris, have any payments been made?
No, there has not.
Thank you.
We were here last week, same day, last Monday. And this is a substantial arrearage, partial for September, October, November, December, January, February, and March. $6,460. The defendant was going to try to work out something. And then he indicated he was planning to move by the end of the month. So, Mr. Gutierrez, you still plan to move by the end of the month?
Yes, sir. That's what we've been working on. Like I said, last week, we had this past week off to try to, to start putting a good dent and getting some of the smaller things kind of situated, things like that, to start getting them out of here into the storage unit, things like that. And that's pretty much still what we're kind of working on. Like I said, is today we find out what the amount is that we actually are needing to move into the new place with the deposits, all of that. So then after today is when we'll really be able to see what we'll be able to give. But like I said, from what I've kind of figured in the talks that we've had on what they normally give the estimates at, we should be able to do about half, maybe a little more, give or take, but at least right around that half mark, before we leave, or right after, that Monday after, what have you. Because, typically falls on a week that's going to fall on the weekend the last of this month. But that Monday, whatever, when we come back to bring the keys, all of that, that's when we would bring all that in as well and set up something for the remainder amount. Because, again, this has been a roller coaster for us for, the last year or so, like you've seen. And we appreciate how understanding and everything Chris and, the whole company, I guess, if you will, has been with us trying to do this. But it's just gotten to a point to where it's just too much. It's just going to keep going up and down.
Yes.
So
I think it's for the best.
Yeah, and we don't mind being here. We don't at all, but it's just gotten a little too much, and I don't want to keep putting, Chris or anybody else in that position either. So,
well, we're in the same boat we were in last week. Your rent through February is $6,460.
mm-hmm.
There's $240 in late fees and $207.92 in court costs. Total is $6,907.92. Now, you're not going to pay that. You're going to vacate. The date for the writ is 10 days from today, which is March 27th. Ms. Corpening can certainly agree to let you stay until the end of the month, which is the 31st.
Mm-hmm.
But by the letter of the law, the date for the writ is 10 days from today. When you vacate, you need to turn in your keys
Mm-hmm.
and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your moving.
Quick little tidbit with that.
Yes.
We won't actually have like our official number or anything until what is it? It'll be what, end of April, right? I think, because they said it'll probably be about mid to end of April that we'll get the official address for the apartment number and things like that. So I really won't have anything like that, because what we're going to do for those few weeks in between is we're just going to go stay at a hotel. So
Right.
how would you like me to do that?
Well, whatever best address you've got. Do you have a family member or somebody's address you could use?
That's fine. That's why I was asking. I didn't know how that would want to be handled. That's fine. I can do that.
All right. My same advice as always, stay in contact with your manager. What town are you moving to?
We're going to Coldwater.
All right. Well, I wish you the best. Hopefully you can get out of here by the 27th. If not, she has the discretion to give you a few extra days. It's easier to have you self-vacate than have the sheriff put all your stuff out.
Right.
But they can apply your security deposit to any unpaid rent. They
Right.
can also have a subsequent hearing regarding money damages. You'll be credited for any money paid against the amount owed.
Okay.
And if you don't have an address, a family address that mail could reach you would be sufficient for our purpose.
I can do that.
All right, best of luck, sir.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now, this last case centers on Mr. Goose, who fell months behind on rent with no payments in sight.
Miss Lawman, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, we've got Keona and Eric Loftman are here. We were here again on this case last week. File number is 25239LT, Memory Lane Mobile Home Park are the plaintiffs. Mr. John Bush is here representing them, and their manager is Chris Corpening. Keona and Eric Loftman are here. Last week, they indicated they intended to pay the entire amount, and that was the plan. They were going to get a tax refund and get caught up.
Yep.
Ms. Corpening, has anything been paid on this?
No, Your Honor, has not.
Is that still your plan, Mr. Loftman, to pay and get squared away?
Yeah, I talked to my sister who works at my family's tax office. And she checked. From what she said, it's all going to be in by the 1st
Of April?
Yes, like I will be able to make a payment on the 1st and pay everything that day, like by that day. So everything will be squared away as of April 1st.
All right, well, let's discuss that. Let's talk about the numbers. Through March, the amount owed is $7,538. John, these accounting sheets are so helpful. $320 in late fees and $207.92 in costs. Total amount due is a lot, $8,065.92. That's due theoretically by the 27th of March. Ms. Corpening, is the company willing to go to March 31st on his representation? He's going to pay in full on April 1st. Or do you want me to use the 27th date?
I'm willing to do the 31st, Your Honor.
All right. March 31st is a Monday and
Okay.
April 1st would be Tuesday. So you need to pay in full on April 1st.
It will be paid, Your Honor. Like I said, I talked to my sister who works at our family's tax office. It'll get paid by then.
All right. The defendant may be liable for money damages if you move or if additional rent is owed or there's damage to the property. Acceptance of a partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction. You have to pay the entire amount. No money judgment is entered at this time. If they do wish to have a money judgment, if there's money unpaid, we could do that at a subsequent date. The appeal date is still 10 days from today, which is March 27th. So the plan is that you're going to pay the rent through March of $7,538, $320 in late fees and $207.92. Now, in addition, April's rent is going to be due on April 1st.
Yep.
So at that time, you'll actually owe about $9,000. You understand?
Yes, I do. I don't like to throw numbers out, but I know our tax refund was almost $12,000. So like I said, as soon as it gets in there, that'll be the only place that we go to.
All right, I hope so. Our numbers are down. I say this every week. Mr. Bush has been through this cycle for years, and so has Ms. Corpening. During tax refund time, people get caught up on their rent. And our caseload goes down in March and early April, where people are getting their taxes and paying their rent. They're also paying their court fines and probation oversight fees and that sort of thing. You're fortunate, or maybe unfortunate, to get that large of a refund, but that should square you away through the month of April. Now, if for some reason this doesn't work and you do move, you need to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your vacating. But I think your plan to pay this, that's still the plan. They certainly would like to get caught up on the rent. It's easier to keep a good tenant in there than to move one out and move another one in. And for a small company like this, $9,000 is a lot.
Yes, it is.
So they would certainly like to get paid and have you continue your tenancy. Mr. Bush, anything to add?
I have nothing to add. Thank you, Judge. I hope they can
All
catch
right, I
up.
hope this works out for you, Mr. and Mrs. Loftman.
Thank
And
you.
that's Kaona. All right, very good. You're free to go.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, John.